arms lay out. Have space between your feet, so they're probably almost as wide as your mat. The palms are rolled up toward the ceiling. And just let yourself start to relax for a moment, to begin to just settle in. We'll take a nice long inhale. Exhale, empty that breath, maybe out through the mouth. Let's do a couple of rounds of that. Nice, long, deep inhale. Exhale, let it out, sigh it out. Each time you empty the breath, allow your body to start to drop in a little deeper. Another one just like that. Inhaling. Exhaling. And so the breath can become a little more neutral now, a little more softer. But as you're laying here, allowing yourself to really see about where are you holding tension. Where in your body do you feel like there's tightness or strain? And just by bringing some awareness to that, we're going to now start to breathe into those areas, and on the exhale, really allow and encourage them to release and let go. So basically, if you inhale, as if you could actually bring that breath, that prana, right into that space. And then on the exhale, let it begin to dissolve and empty and relax. Sometimes a couple of breaths are required to really get the area to soften. And maybe for some of us, you know, we're here and we have no sensation as far as any strain or tension. And that's awesome if that's the case. So in that case, allowing yourself to drop in a little bit deeper. Jack, let's be here for about another 3 or 4 breaths. Breathing in. When you exhale, really, again, just let things go. Relax, release. Like we want to start with a clean slate. We want to let go of everything that's already just this morning, you know, we've had to look at and maybe put an energy and time into. You know, so with whatever may be going on with you right this moment, I'm just gonna ask you to let it all go. So you can become totally present in this moment, right here, right now. Let's go ahead now and begin to bring some easy movement to the body. Bring your legs a little bit closer together. Reaching both arms over your head. Imagine I'm holding onto your wrist and someone else has your ankles. And we're stretching you in 2 opposite directions. Now I'm going to have you exhale, just let your arms float down by your side and relax your legs. Do that again. Inhale, reach your arms up. Stretch out through your legs. Exhale, let the arms float down by your side. Take a moment, relax, let go. Once again, inhale, reach your arms overhead. Press out through your legs. Get length. And now hug your right knee into your chest. With your knee into your chest, the back of your neck is long. Begin to roll your ankle. Roll your ankle around. And then go the opposite direction. Roll the other. Again, now, once you've done that both directions, now you're going to point and flex that foot a few times. Point and flex. So while we're here with that right knee in, I'm going to have you just hold the knee with your left hand and stretch your right arm wide by your shoulder, bringing that right knee to the left so you're going into a twist. An easy twist so the knee crosses the midline over the body. We want to see about keeping our right shoulder blade on the ground. Breathe into that. Now inhale, come back to center, back to center. Stretch that leg out, reach both arms overhead, get some length through the body, and hug your left knee into your chest and give it a good little squeeze. Here, same deal. We're going to start to rotate that ankle around, sweep it, circle it around about 4 or 5 times. And now go the opposite way, circle the other way. Point and flex. And now relax the foot. Take the right hand to the outside of the left knee. Bring the left arm wide by the shoulder and take that twist. As you're twisting, you want to keep that left shoulder heavy, the shoulder blade heavy in the ground. And so take a couple of breaths where you're at, breathing into your left hip, your left low back. Another breath. Come on back to your middle. Stretch the leg out. Sweep the arms overhead. Get long. One more time here. And now bringing both of the knees into the chest. Hug your knees in. Just pause here for a moment. As you're here, begin to see that the neck is still long. The shoulders are on the mat. Even the sacrum, for the most part, is on the ground, right? The tailbone, is up a bit, but just allowing it to soften as well. Okay, so from here, we're just going to start to rock across our back from side to side. Easy little rocking. Come on back to your middle. Bring your knees together and bring your hands flat by your hips. Imagine that we're holding a pencil between our knees, and we're going to begin to make a circle on the ceiling with that pencil. And take your time as you're doing this. Just roll and begin to bring awareness into the low back, the sacral area, the ilium, that whole lower back. And as you're rolling around, be aware that your own body weight is doing some compression work around that low back. If you have tendency to have low back strain or pain, this can be a really nice thing to do when you're on your own. Just kind of spend some time using the compression work of your own weight to loosen it up. Now when you come back to center, everyone, I would like you to go the other way, please. Roll the other way. Easy circles. One more time around. And then we come back to our center. Right here, I'm going to have you open both your arms wide. Inhale. Exhale, let both your knees roll to the right. So you're twisting again. And now we're going to move with that. I'm going to have you lift your top knee, your left knee up, and then join it with your right knee. Now roll to the left. Roll to the twist to the left. And then inhale the top knee, the right knee lifts, the left knee joins it in the middle, and then we twist off to the right. We're going to do a couple of rounds. Pick up your left knee, join it with your right knee, and then twist to left. Inhale, top knee lifts, bottom knee joins it. Exhale, twist to right. Let's do it one more time. Inhale, left knee lifts, right knee lifts, roll to left. This time we're going to pause here for about 3 breaths. So you're going to twist to the left, The knees are on the left side. Both shoulder blades are on the mat. Take a couple of breaths into it. Inhaling your top knee first, join it with your bottom knee, and let's twist the other side. Once your knees are down, soften the shoulder blades, and let's be here for about 3 breaths. Inhale, top knee lifts, join it with your bottom knee, wrap your hands around your knees. Again, just pause here, putting a little compression into the shins to drive those thighs toward the waist. Now, everyone, let's roll over to our left side and use your right hand to push you up. And then once you come up, I'm going to have you come onto your seat. We're going to go into cross-leg shape, Sukhasana, but we'll start by bringing our right heel in and then the left heel in. If you need a little prop to create some lift for the hips, then use a blanket or a towel, whatever you might have handy. The thing is, if you're like this, the knees are like this and you're back on your sacrum, then you're going to want to lift your hips up so you're up on your sit bones. Okay, so right here, feel the weight of the hips and the sit bones. Drop your chin to your chest. Roll the head over to the right, behind you, to the left, and through your center. And keep going with that. I apologize, that noise y'all hear is my dog, Jack, right by the screen, licking himself. Now do one more time. Let's do one more circle in that direction. Then once you're back in the middle, let's roll the neck the other way. Easy circles. Easy rolls around. Take your time. Don't rush it. Matter of fact, enjoy it. We're just loosening up our neck a little bit. If it's too much pull, too much, if you're feeling strained, then back off. Do a smaller rotation. We're going to take it around one more time. And then this time you come back to center. Draw the face up. Draw the face up. Inhale, reach your arms up. Now we're going to exhale and come into a forward fold. Hands out in front of you. Just begin to relax, soften. So you want to keep your hips and seat on the ground, right? You're only going to the degree that's available for you. And once you're there, you go to your first soft edge and begin to find some softness. Find some softness around the forehead. Let the space around the eyes be soft, the jaw relax. Unless your forehead is all the way on the mat, then your hands are on the ground. I want you to start to do this little rock here from side to side. It's not a big move. You're basically just shifting your trunk a little bit from side to side, which should feel pretty good to you, to your hips and low back. And then once again, you're going to come back into your middle, take a big deep breath, and see if you have any deeper fold that's available. Just from doing that very subtle rocking, did something loosen up that you may go deeper? Not that the goal is to get the head on the ground. The goal is to allow your body to open to the degree it's possible for. Now here we're going to inhale about halfway up. Let's say halfway, our hands are still on the ground. Walking hands over to the right? Take a deep breath here. Now, as you fold over that front leg, walk your left fingers out in front of you to get a little stretch there. your chest is lined up over your knee. Okay, that's as far to the right as you are. Right? Breathe into that. Now inhale halfway up. We're going to take our right hand, move it even more to the right so it lines up with your outer right hip. And then pick that left arm up and stretch it toward the sky. So now think of excuse me, having length through both sides of your body, your right and left side. Now as we start to soften that right shoulder and bend that right knee, we're going to take that left arm over our ear. So you want to keep your left sit bone anchored onto the ground as you really get the length through the side ribs there. Now the gaze can we could turn our face toward that knee, we could turn our face to the center of the room, or we could turn our chin in toward our armpit and look up toward sky. So getting, again, a little bit of a stretch for the neck here too. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Next inhale, we're going to sweep forward into our forward fold where we came from. And just let yourself release. Using our next inhale, begin to walk your hands back and round your spine up. Let your head drag up. Give your shoulders a couple of rolls. Circle them around. And now change your direction. Circle the opposite way. One more. And then back to our center. Bring your hands behind you and step your feet out, or lengthen your legs out in front of you. Roll your ankles around here, circles. So your heels are off the ground, right? You're just kind of rolling the ankles. And now change your direction, roll the other way. Giving our feet a little attention, or our ankles, right? Just by doing this. I know we've already rolled ankles once, but I don't think 2 times is gonna, I think it might be good. Point and flex a few times. Right. And then come on back up, relax the feet, bring your left heel in towards your pubis. Your right heel lines up with that. Again, we want to maybe take your hands, slide some of that flesh out from under you, come back into center. Inhale, stretch arms up. Exhale, hands to mat or to the front, and then lower yourself down to your first soft edge. And start to come into some breath. It's that Ujjayi breath here. And as you're breathing, allow the breath to move into the body so it's kind of spreads out wide, like you expand through your sides. And not only that, you also allow the back of your body to expand a bit. So let's let this pose be about some breath, directing the breath and the prana. And then the other part of the pose is about letting go and softening. Softening the face, the jaw. Unless you're all the way down, your hands are on the ground, we're just going to use the hands kind of as a support to give ourselves a little easy shift from side to side. And notice where you feel that. And it's probably going to be down where your hip and toward your hips and your lower back. And then you come back to neutral for a moment. Breathe, inhale into this. As you exhale, maybe drop a little deeper. Inhale again. Exhale. Inhale, let's come up about halfway. Your hands are still on the ground. Begin to walk hands over to the left. Now we just take a little twist through the trunk. Keep your left hand flat, or support. It's going to be your support, one means of support. And walk your right fingers out in front of you. All right, so there's a twisting action, so the collarbone, the sternum is right over that thigh/knee. We're going to now take our left hand and bring it a little more left so it lines up with the left outer hip, and then use your right arm to stretch it straight up, y'all. Stretch it up, reach it up, take a deep inhale, and then exhale, stretch that arm over your head. Softening that left shoulder. Getting space through that right side body. Let's inhale and direct breath and prana into the right rib cage. Do one more big breath like that. For this inhale, we're going to sweep back into our forward fold. So here we go, right back over where we came from. And you may even be deeper yet. Again, the goal is not to drop the head to the mat. The goal is to allow your body to open up to as much space as it's available as possible for where we're at right now in our lives today. Now inhale, we're going to roll ourselves up all the way. Begin to give your shoulders some roll. Circle them around again. And then you're going to change your direction, circle the other way. Nice, y'all. Come back to your center, making your way up onto your hands and knees. So set your hands under your shoulders. Knees under hips, let your belly drape, draw your chest up and look out in front of you. Take a deep breath. So see how the sit bones are towards sky? You all know this shape, cow shape. Now we're going to tuck our tailbone under and around, bringing our chin in toward our sternal notch. Inhale, come back into your cat shape, your cow. 3 or 4 more of those on your own. Take your time. Move at your own rate. Move with your own rhythm, your own breath. Let's do it one more time. Now from here, we're going to sink our seat onto our heels, moving into child pose. Maybe have a little space between your knees, right? They're not all the way together. And walk your hands out in front of you, bring your forehead on the ground. For now, we're going to keep the extended child pose. Okay, so palms are out, right out in front of us. We want our palms to at least the width of our shoulders because we're about to do that unfurling action, like a flow with the breath. So from here, and we're about to move into it, your arms are fully extended, your palms are on the mat. Inhale, begin to round up like you're coming into a really deep cat tuck, all the way up onto your knees. And then you're going to shift your weight forward and unfurl toward the mat. So your thighs, your pubis, your navel, your heart, your forehead land on floor. And now the legs are active. Inhale a baby cobra here. Using your next exhale, press into your arms, shift weight all the way back into your child pose. Let your hips go as deep into your heels as available. The arms are still active. Take an inhale there. Exhale the breath. And here we go again. Inhale, you're going to start to come into a really deep cat tuck. Separate your feet so they're lined up with your knees, everyone. And then you sequentially, thighs, pubis, belly, heart, forehead, land. Inhale the baby cobra. Here we go back into that child pose, exhaling. Take a breath in your child pose. Hips are on the heels, the arms are extended. Following the neck, this inhale, let's do it. Inhale, round up. Feet separate so they line up with the knees. Then we're going to begin to lower ourselves down. Inhale, baby cobra. This time, y'all, I'm going to have you bring your forearms out under you. So your elbows are under your shoulders and you're in a Sphinx pose. Okay, so in Sphinx, let's just be there for a moment. The forearms root down. The palms are flat. Isometrically, as if you could drag your elbows toward your hip bones. Just start to push down and draw back. They're not going to actually move, but by doing that, notice if you feel more width across your collarbone. Now we're going to go into either a modified forearm plank or the forearm plank, okay? I know that's a little more than gentle, but we've got options here, okay? So I want you to just draw your top of your belly off the ground. And then I'm going to have you draw your low belly off the ground. Pull your belly in and lift. Now pick your pubic bone off the floor. So now you got your belly and your pubic bone up. Some of us, this may be it. Or pick your thighs up. So now you're on your knees. Okay, I know this even can feel intense. But you have one last option. Tuck your toes and lift your knees. If that's the case, and you have the knees up, don't drop your butt and your thighs, because that's going to put too much strain into your shoulders. And besides, it's going to not do the work we're wanting it to. Pull your thighs up. Tuck your tailbone under. And beautiful, guys. Bring your knees back down. Come back down. Let's just pause by stacking our hands under our forehead. So hands under forehead. Let your forehead rest on your hands. And then let's bend our knees. Make sure your knees are a little bit wide. They're not together. And begin to windshield wiper your feet from side to side. Okay, we'll come back to center and lay our legs back down. Stretch your legs out behind you. Again, bring yourself up into Sphinx. We're going to do another round of that. So you're up in your Sphinx. By the way, if you could actually stay in Sphinx if you don't want to go up into the forearm plank, any variation of that. But if you're running to go with me, here we go. Inhale, lift your upper middle abdomen off the ground. And then start to lift your lower abdomen off the ground. Pulling it up, and pretty intense here. Lift your pubic bone off the floor. So now your belly and your pubis is off the floor, the top of your thighs, the hips. And now lift your thighs up. So now you're up on your forearms and your knees, right? So you could actually keep this. You want to keep your belly drawing in. Other option, strongest option, pick your knees up. Come into the full forearm plank. Again, don't let your hips drape down toward the ground. Instead, lift them up a little bit. And then roll your tailbone under you like you're going to hook it in front of your pubic bone. And bring your knees back down. Slowly lay down. Same thing, hands stacked under forehead. The legs separate some here. Let them be a little wide. Bend the knees. Let's do another round of windshield wiper. Side to side. Okay, we're gonna release our legs back down. Activate the legs so they're not passive, and then bring your hands up under your shoulders. Okay, now we're gonna go into a baby cobra. Right here, take a breath. Maybe even a little more of a mid cobra. So shoulders away from the ears, right? Using the strength in your back. Or you're going to stay here for one more breath, or you're going to come into a full cobra. Now slowly lay yourself back down. Now we're going to use our hands to push up onto our knees. Up onto our knees. This time, let's keep our knees a little closer together. So if we can, if we need space between our knees, we're going to take it. But if we can keep the knees a little closer together, and then when we come into the child pose, we're going to have a little more, the back is going to be more rounded if that's available. This time, bring your hands down by your feet and turn your palms up toward the sky and let your behind sink into your heels. If you find that's not happening, again, always have that option to have your knees a little bit wider, okay, if that's a better call for you. Let's be here for about 4 breaths. And this again is a place that when you're breathing, you're sending breath into the back ribs, into the sides. So the breath moves like 2-dimensionally, either side, of course, and then the back is rising. So each time you inhale, you're going to feel expansion through your back body. And when you exhale, you're going to feel a little more grounded, a little more connected to earth. Okay, nice work, everybody. Let's stretch your arms out in front of you. Extend them all the way out. Make your way up onto hands and knees, and from there, come into downward facing dog. In your first down dog, feel free to shift around a little bit. Any little movements that would feel right for you now. Right? A little maybe bending of one knee as you're rooting the opposite heel down. And now inhale, let's come up onto the toes. So the heels are going to lift a lot. And bend the knees about 30 degrees, and pause there. Now your knees are bent, your heels are way up. Notice where the weight is in your hands. Spread your fingers out, root into your first and second knuckle, right? And then start to straighten the legs and then sink those heels toward ground. So you're in downward facing dog, if that's good for you. All right, and drop the head, look toward the toes. Take another big inhale. Empty the breath. And now come onto your hands and knees. Come onto your hands and knees. Okay, so right from there, we're going to pick up our right leg behind us. Stretch your right leg back. Okay, going into spinal extension here. Let's keep the right hand down and send the left arm out. Turning the palm in like we're about to shake someone's hand. Hey, hey there. And now the lifted leg, flex that foot and point those toes toward the floor. Your option is to stay here. Or you're going to bring your knee and your elbow toward each other and send it back out. Lengthen it out. Let's do that 4 more times. Knee and elbow touch and send the leg out and arm out. Drawing it all to the middle and lengthen and extend it out. Again, draw knee in, send leg out. Now pause here and breathe where you're at. Keep the leg up, but put the hand on the ground. Both hands are now on the ground. We're going to take our right leg, our right straight leg, and cross it over our left leg. So the toes are lined up with the other toes, but over on the left. And then the toes are tucked under on that extended leg. Turn and look over your right and left shoulder, excuse me, your left shoulder, as if you're going to look back at that right foot. And breathe into that. And now feel that stretch across your side ribs and through your hips. That right hip, excuse me. One more breath here. Okay, you're going to come back to your middle. Put your knee on the ground. Square it all up. Pick your left leg up behind you. The leg is lifted. The toes are rotated toward the ground. Sometimes the tendency is for that, the left leg that's lifted is for the toes to turn out. Turn out. We don't want that. We want to turn them in. Okay? Now shift weight into your left arm and stretch your right arm out in front of you. Be strong through your standing arm, y'all. Strong through your standing arm. So you plug your palm down and draw up out of that shoulder. Now here we go. You're either going to stay where you're at or you could lower that back foot. You have a lot of options. Or to crank it up, we're going to bring the knee and the elbow together and then extend it all out. Draw the knee and the elbow together. Extend it all out. 2 more. To the midline. Extension. To the midline. Extension. Pause, take a breath. Now set your hand down on the ground. So now shift the weight so they're in both arms. You're not all in your left arm now. Take your your left leg, cross it over your right leg, and then start, the toes are tucked under, right? And start to look out over your right shoulder toward that left foot. It doesn't actually matter if you can see the foot, by the way. Okay, it's just that what we're really looking for is length through the left hip, the left IT band, the left oblique area. For one more breath. And then you're going to come back to your neutral, set your knee down. And again, take a child pose. Shift your seat back and come into child pose. And have your arms in any position that feels comfortable for you. Once again, stretch your arms out in front of you. Make your way onto all fours. Up onto all fours. And then I'm going to have you actually walk your hands back towards your knees. Roll up onto your toes. So now you're on your toes, right? The ball mounds of your feet. And then pick your hips up and sink your heels, and now you're in a forward fold. So in your forward fold, your feet are at least, let's have them a little wide. So let's have them about the width of our shoulders now. And bend our knees and either wrap your hands around your elbows or make fists and set them inside your forearms, either way. Now let the head drop and maybe bring your forearms so they're more over on top of your crown, over your head, than in front of your head, right? They're a little bit, if that works for you, and you can get those forearms right over the top of that head, do that. And breathe. So have as much bend in your knees so you feel comfortable through your hamstrings. And just allow yourself to drape over. Just imagine there is a waterfall flowing from your sacrum down through your spinal column, through your head. Okay, we're going to release the hands. Now, you're going to inhale, lengthen, come into a flat back. Okay, so toes are forward, they're not turned out. Take your hands, interlace your fingers, begin to straighten the elbows, and now refold. Breathe into that. Notice if your weight is more in your heels. And if so, I would like you to shift weight so they move a little bit toward the top of the feet as well. So the weight distributes between the back and front of the feet. Okay, we're going to take one last breath here. Release those hands. Release them all the way back to the ground. You're still in the fold. Now, we're going to come all the way up. So let's inhale to stretch arms wide and then draw ourselves up all the way to the top. Exhale, release your arms down. Set your feet up under your hips. Set your feet up under your hips. And now we're going to go into 3 or 4 half sun salutes. Inhale, stretch arms up. Exhale, fold over. Inhale, lengthen your back. Exhale the fold. Inhale, fly up, reach up, look up. Exhale, arms down by your side. Again, let's do that. Inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale, fold in half. Inhale, a long back, wide collarbone, fold over. Inhale to the top. Exhale, arms down. We're going to do one more. We're going to add on this time. Inhale, stretch arms up. Exhale, fold over. Inhale, halfway up. Step your right foot behind you. So step your right foot back and lower your right knee to the ground. So now you're in a low lunge. Bring your hands to your front thigh. Okay, so make sure you have enough space between the front foot and the back knee that you can have, have space for your hips to be square, right? And then the left knee is forward, is that right? Take your left hand onto your thigh and stretch your right arm up. Now, even maybe frame your outer right hip with your right hand. And take a side fold here. You're going to start to stretch that right arm over your left. Try not to let your hips come out of alignment. They're going to stay rather square. But then you're stretching out through that left side. Excuse me, your right side. Now I'm going to have you come back to center, stretch both arms up. Open your arms out wide. I'm actually going to face you guys. Open your arms out wide. And then we're going to turn toward the left. Turn toward the left. Extend the arms out, stretch them. Maybe look toward that back hand. And now you're going to take that back hand to your back thigh and turn your face front. Turn your front palm open and lift that top arm up. And let that back hand slide down your thigh. The palm is facing the back of the room. And now you're going to release your back hand and join it with your top arm. Inhale. Exhale, bring your hands to the ground. Before we move on, we're going to shift the weight back and come into a runner stretch. Pick the front foot up, the toes rather. Inhale, draw up your heart and take a deep breath. Now maybe hinge a little deeper for 3 breaths. Set your hands wherever they're most helpful, where they'll be able to support you. One more breath here. Inhale, we're going to shift weight back to that front foot. Okay, now we're in the low lunge again. Step your hands slightly forward, pick up your back knee, and step your back foot to the front. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, close your fold. Inhale, rise. Stretch up, look up. Exhale, arms down by your side. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen through your spine. Set your hands down and step your left foot back. Lower your left knee to the ground. So as soon as we do that, sometimes what might be helpful would be to take your front right foot and move it a little to the right. Unless you already know you're squared up, right? Now bring your hands to your front thigh. Take a moment and breathe into that. Now taking your right hand and frame it like you're, putting against your thigh and your hip, and then take your other arm up. I know there's a piece of, that they use to like hinge on a door or something. So that's the word I'm thinking of. But anyway, you're just kind of using that as a support as you stretch that top arm over your head. The one thing you want to keep that front foot really plugged in, and also keep your eyes steady on one place. And take a couple of breaths here. Breathe, Ujjayi breath, into your left lung. We're going to inhale both arms back to sky. Now we're taking those arms out wide. Right, they're out parallel with those shoulders, and begin to rotate to the right. Now both arms are really expanding out in opposite directions. Yeah, I'd like you to turn and look toward the back hand. Breathe into it, keep the gaze steady. And then take your back hand to your back thigh and turn your face forward. Rotate your front palm open, lift the arm, come into this shape. It's like a radiant low lunge. We're going to let go of the back hand, sweep it around, take it up to the top. Exhale the hands to ground. Begin to shift that weight into that back knee and begin to straighten that front leg. Now, before you go anywhere, I would like you to inhale and find more space in the front of your body, your back body, and then hinge at your hips as you take your fall. It's totally allowed to move your hands here. So if you need to put your hands in another position to be more supportive, then do it. And let's breathe. For one more breath. Inhale, we're going to help ourselves up. We're going to shift our weight forward. So again, we're in the low lunge. And let's go ahead and pick that back knee up. Step toward the front of your mat. Bring the back foot to the top. Inhale, lengthen through the back. Exhale, fold over. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, stretch arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen. Step back to downward facing dog. Walk yourself back into your dog. Breathe into that. Come onto your knees. Come onto your seat. Come onto your back. If you have a block handy, just lift your arm to let me know if you have a block near you. Okay, if you don't, then that's okay. All right. So I have two. So here we are. That's so good. Let's set up bridge pose. So the block, if you have the block at some point, we're going to be up there for about a good half a minute. So the block is something we could put up under the sacrum if we want to be a little more supported right now. Okay, so feet rooted, arms down by your side, tuck the tailbone under. Notice how that engages the abdominal muscles. And then now on this next inhale, draw your spinal column, lifting it up one vertebrae at a time. Now also start to root into the inner foot, the big toe ball mound and the inner heel. It's almost like, imagine that we have a block, we're holding it between our thighs, we're kind of squeezing into it. Okay, so you're either gonna take a hold, lace your hands underneath of you, right? Or this is where you might put your block up under your sacrum. However, if you have your hands laced, I'm going to have you roll a little bit off to one side. So the opposite arm comes off the ground and then come back down. And then I'm going to have you roll to the other side, just so the arm comes off the ground. Then when you come back down, the arms are a little more underneath of you. And then reestablish the groundedness through the feet, plug them in a little deeper, and maybe the hips and thighs rise, or the hips rise a little more. Big breath here. For 3 more. If your hands are laced, unlace them. If you're on the block, you can move it now. And then very slowly, one vertebrae, then the next, we're lowering our spinal column on the ground. So eventually the sacrum is down and then the tailbone. Now bring the soles of the feet together. And let your arms stretch out a little wide. Turn the palms up. Take your right hand onto your low belly, right below your belly button, and your left hand in the center of your chest and around your heart center. And just take a moment and let the weight of your hands rest in those two places. And now breathing from